This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weight. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show.
Hey, what up? Happy Thursday. The Jason Walker Show, hanging out inside the man cave today. We got a good show on tap, as we do each and every year. We're going to talk to Western basketball coach, Montana Western women's coach Lindsay Woolley. Also, FCS Hero Sports senior writer Sam Herder is going to preview the FCS championship game, which is coming up Sunday. Got some news on DeMar Hamlin, Montana's sports, and much more on a show you can watch on Facebook and YouTube. You can listen on Podbean, Network One Sports, TreasureStateRadio.com. No, you can't. We're off on there now, but I was reading something old there for sure. Ooh, Nelly. And much more. Got the walk-off coming up. The walk-up is brought to you by Montana Custom Log Homes, the premier log home company in the industry with 3 distinct divisions so you can create the log home of your dreams in your budget. Got milled, handcrafted in timber frame. Make sure you get online. Check them out, yourcustomlog.com, to get started today. All right, so yesterday we had Alex Eshelman on the show, our favorite sports reporter in the Gallatin Valley, maybe in the state. And she told you she was moving on. Well, it was announced today that Alex, and I knew this, and it was tough to not be able to say it yesterday, but she is now the Big Sky Conference Director of Broadcast and Digital Media. Tom Wistershell, the conference commissioner, said that, quote, Alex brings a breadth of experience and knowledge as well as great familiarity with our conference. We're thrilled that she's joining our team to enhance our new media efforts, elevate the experience we provide our fans, end quote. She is fantastic. As you know, she's been on the show for about 2 years, coming from ABC Fox Montana, SWX Montana, and also with the Pac-12 Network, Fox Sports Arizona. Graduate of U of A, which she is very passionate about. She said, quote, I'm thrilled to join the Big Sky Conference team as your go-to source for stories surrounding the league. Been fortunate to cover Montana State on various platforms now along with the Bobcats. I'm excited to not only highlight the Big Sky institutions and our affiliates, but also take the exposure of our conference to the next level with our partners at ESPN, Scripps, and Learfield. So the best wishes to Alex Eshelman. Nobody better. And she's going to absolutely kill it. Now, what's the great news about all this is once she gets settled in, Alex is going to start rejoining us again on the show. Might not be every week, maybe every other week. We're working out all the details, but she's going to fill us in on the Cats, the Grizz, the Big Sky as a whole, and it's going to be awesome. So Bozeman's losing a great one, but the Big Sky is getting a fantastic one. So very, very cool. Let's see. Bobby Petrino on the move again. he left. Where was he? Missouri? Not Missouri, but he was at Missouri State the past couple of years. 3 weeks ago, took a job at UNLV. And now he is headed off to Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. Well, he'll be the play caller, offensive coordinator, basically. He's 61, Helena native, Carroll grad. He was the offensive coordinator under his dad, Bob Sr. He's been everywhere. Weber, Idaho, Arizona State, Nevada, Utah State, Louisville twice, Arkansas. 137-71 overall, lost 2 FCS playoff games at Missouri State. Remember, we had him on the show when he got that job. But there you go. Let's see, what else did we get to? I saw today. Jason Dannelly puts out this list every year, and it is the Remington Award. It goes to the best center in college football. And there's winners at every level, FCS, D2, D3, NAI. Last 20 years, and Andrew Carter of Carroll College has been named the 2022 NAI Remington Award winner. Redshirt junior from Idaho, second team AFCA All-America. Excuse me. This past season, NAI Football Association Press second team All-America. He was first team the year before. First team All-Conference the last 2 years in the Frontier. He's the third winner of the Remington from Carroll. Kyle Baker won it in 2005, Andy Fieseth in 2010. And Carroll's now tied with Benedictine out of Kansas for the most in the history of the award. 3 each. It's pretty cool. So congratulations to Andrew Carter of Carroll College. Let's see here. We got high school hoops tonight. Frontier getting back in action. The Big Sky getting back in action as well, with the Cats and Grizz men at home, women at home, Lady Grizz at home. The men are on the road, Northern Colorado, Northern Arizona this weekend. We've got some good Frontier games this week. Tonight, Montana Western is hosting Providence. All the proceeds from tonight's game at Dillon going to Paige Holmes. We'll talk to Lindsay Woolley, head coach, coming up. Let's see. Who else is where in the Frontier tonight? Tech and Rocky. Well, you got Tech and Carroll tonight in Butte. Tech has won 20 straight at home on the men's side. And that'll be a good game, potentially. Should be a good game. And then you have, I guess, Northern would play Rocky tonight. So good stuff. And lots of high school action across the state as well. It's going to be a busy push now until the middle of March. CMR needs some coaching. Brian Halverson, Kate Sisler leaving the Rustlers. Halverson coached boys and girls golf for the past 16 years, won a couple of state titles with the girls, one with the boys. Also was a tennis coach for 9 years. Sisler coached the soccer team this year, but now they need girls soccer and boys and girls golf coaches up at CMR. So throw your hat in the ring if you are so inclined. The Walk Up brought to you by Montana Custom Log Homes, the premier log home company in the industry. Over 50 years experience, the finest craftsmen that'll get you a home that's crafted to last for generations. They're veteran-owned, woman-owned, family-owned and operated. YourCustomLog.com for Montana Custom Log Homes. You can tweet us anytime at JWalkerSports. You can also get a hold of us, email, and Jason at JasonWalkerShow.com, and you can text or call in 406-209-1267. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, and when we return, we're going to check in down in Frisco, Texas, with Hero Sports FCS senior writer Sam Herder. Who wins? South Dakota State, North Dakota State, Sunday on ABC. He'll tell us when we return here on the Jason Walker Show on a Thursday.
Strength, beauty, grit, superior craftsmanship. Our homes have it all. At Montana Custom Log Homes, if you can dream it, we can build it. With 3 divisions and over 50 years experience, we've got you covered. From a showcase home to a small cabin, we make your vision a reality. Because every cowboy wants a castle for his queen. Montana Custom Log Homes, crafting homes that last for generations.
Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show. Spring is fast approaching and summer is just around the corner, so now is the time to get those windows tinted at Auto Concepts as the sun starts to heat up. Tinting is the best way to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes driving down the road. Plus, it just looks cool. Auto Concepts is your exclusive 3M dealer for tinting, as well as the best clear bras in town. Auto Concepts clear bras will not fade or yellow over time. And don't forget about suspension lifts and power steps for your rig too. Visit AutoConceptsHelena.com or check them out on Facebook. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals.
Summer, the season to work hard, play hard. The days are heating up and getting longer. The smell of fresh cut grass, the hot sun on your skin. We kidding. We all know you're really thinking about having fun and relaxing at the Copper Club Casino. Meet your friends for a cold one. Play a $5 or $2. When you want great service, cold drinks, and fun entertainment, this is the place. The Copper Club Casino, where everybody knows your name any time of year. On Euclid, across from Molendi Center, the Copper Club Casino.
L&P Grocery offers Boulder a convenient shopping experience, whether you're stopping in for a few things or stocking up for the week ahead. From fresh produce and meat to all the staples you need to feed your family, you'll find it here. L&P Grocery is also proud to have partnerships with local brands and carry products unique to the area. Stop by to exchange propane tanks, pick up fishing tackle, grab your prescription, or get your photo taken at the Pitcher Kiosk. They're delighted to be the one-stop shop for local area Boulder residents who want to support local business. Visit lnpgrocery.com and at 215 North Main Street.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
This is the Jason Walker Show.
Welcome back, Jason Walker Show on a Thursday, hanging out inside our man cave. Always love being in here, just relaxing. Yep, good stuff. Lindsay Woolley is going to fill us in on Paige Pathausen, Paige Holmes update, the head coach of Montana Western. That's coming up. Got the On This Day in History, the walk off and more on the way. The FCS National Championship was hoping to be, it's a year ago yesterday. We hit the road for Texas, got there today, a year ago on the 5th. Did the show from the world headquarters at Excite Bates. Then we were at Tight End Sports Bar for 2 days, the game on Saturday, and then drove home Sunday and got home early Monday morning. But would love to have been back down in Frisco Unfortunately, Cats fell to the top seed South Dakota State in the semifinals, couldn't make it back this year. It'll be North Dakota State, South Dakota State on Saturday at Toyota Stadium. And joining us now to preview that game is Hero Sports FCS senior writer Sam Herder on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. Well, he is going to be headed off to Frisco, Texas for how many years have you been down there now?
I believe this will be my 10th year going for this game. So number 10.
All right. And the Bison have won 9 of those, right?
Yes, they have 9-0 in Texas.
Sam Herder joining us here, Mike Miller, State Farm Hotline. Before we get talking about this game, I just thought of this, and I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier, but how bummed are you that you can't use like the herd with Sam Herder? Because Cowherd's got it.
Yeah, my very first Twitter handle back in 2012, I think was the Herd 215. And I tried to do the Herd, but I think Colin had that, or he still has that. So yeah, I usually he's kind of got that whole thing down, and so I wouldn't want to intrude on his space. I don't want him mad at me because he would certainly realize it if I tried, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sam Herder joining us, Jason Walker Show. Big game coming up this weekend, and it's on ABC. It's on a Sunday afternoon. How does that change preparations in your mind for these two teams? Or does it because they've been off for 3 weeks?
Yeah, I don't know if it does a whole lot. If anything, it's maybe one extra day of rest, which on NDSU side is honestly every hour probably counts for some of their players that are pretty beat up. Maybe being on a Sunday is a little bit different than your usual Saturday routine. Maybe it makes the weekend feel a little bit longer. They do a handful of events with the participating teams down in Frisco, but for the players, I don't think it's probably not going to be much of a difference because it is a 3-week break, and so they've had plenty of time to prepare for the Sunday game.
Let's start with the Bison. They're going back again in Frisco, and the defending national champs. But this is a different team, and it kind of has been all year. They've been flying, in my eyes, under the radar as good as they've been. And I know they lost to SDSU, but this just feels like a different year for North Dakota State. What's your opinion?
Yeah, it kind of does. At the same time, we said that last year at this time. We said that NDSU, they kind of struggled a little bit with ETSU in the quarterfinals. They didn't win by nearly as much as we expected them to. The same thing happened this year against the SoCon team in Incarnate Word. Last year in the semifinals, they, some opposition of NDSU, they would say that NDSU got lucky by beating James Madison, and JMU had every reason to win that game in the semifinals. Same thing could be said this season with UIW had every reason to win that game, and yet it was NDSU who was able to pull out that win in the semifinals. And it seems like the storyline going into the title game is kind of the same as last year too. I don't think a lot of people were necessarily picking Montana State to beat NDSU last year, but it was more of the Bobcats match up really well with NDSU. They have to play in the trenches. They have the front seven to go toe to toe with NDSU. And this year, the storyline and the narrative is kind of, if this South Dakota State team can't beat this North Dakota State team, then who is ever going to beat NDSU? Because NDSU just doesn't have that top level gear like they've had in previous years. They are injured, and even if fully healthy, NDSU is going up against the best South Dakota State team the Jacks, in my opinion, have ever had. And so I think, NDSU just isn't quite at that high level that we've seen them in previous years, but at the same time, we kind of said that last year too.
We've seen FCS teams take growth. We saw it with Montana State last year. Jeff Choate knew it. Brent Vegan knows it. And obviously he knows NDSU, but you have to have beef. You have to be able to run, and you have to be able to stop the run. Bobcats ran into trouble at SDSU. We'll talk about that here in a second. But teams around the FCS are kind of using that, and I think South Dakota State probably used that model too, is this is how you win the FCS championship, is be as close to North Dakota State as possible, right?
Yeah, South Dakota State has basically built its roster to beat NDSU, and it's kind of interesting because South Dakota State's is, you know, they built their linebackers and offensive line and defensive line and the depth and the body types and, you know, trying to find those small town farm guys that they can develop into really good defensive and offensive linemen. They've taken the NDSU model, and NDSU is still obviously doing that, but it is a little more interesting that NDSU is kind of built its team in the later 2010s to defend more spread teams because 95% of the teams they play spread you out. And so NDSU is a little smaller at D tackle than they were in the mid 2010s. They are smaller at linebacker now than they were in the mid 2010s. Well, the issue with that is you can defend spread teams like Southern Illinois and Missouri State, but the issue with that is now NDSU struggles to defend South Dakota State because South Dakota State is the one team in the FCS that can really come downhill at you and do it at a national title level. And so that part of it is interesting where NDSU's defense is not necessarily as well built to defend a downhill running attack like South Dakota State like they were in the mid-2010s.
Cam Miller, quarterback, struggled mightily in those semifinals, still willed his team to a victory over Incarnate Word. I think he was 1 for 12, and I don't know if he hit double digits in passing yards, but and you say in your article, you know, he's bounced back from bad games in the past. He's a leader. He knows how to win. He's got that, you know, pedigree of a North Dakota State quarterback. What does he have to do this week?
I think he just has to find the rhythm. You know, he's much more comfortable throwing the ball off of play action. You know, I think NDSU obviously wants to run the ball to set up the pass. That's what they're most comfortable doing. NDSU they're already down Hunter Lipke, their top rusher. You know, Kobe Johnson, their number 2 rusher, he's beat up. Their Tamarick Williams is another good rusher for them. He's beat up. And so establishing the run with a beat up running back room, and especially against a South Dakota State rushing defense that is number 1 in the FCS, you know, that's going to be kind of tough sledding there. And so Cam Miller is going to have to make plays with his arm. And he had open receivers against Incarnate Word. He just missed high a couple of times. And so I think just being comfortable, I think maybe getting him into a rhythm, you know, leaking fullbacks or tight ends out into the flats on play action, or, you know, maybe trying to get the linebackers or the safeties to bite, and, you know, maybe having a tight end or a slot receiver sit in open windows, just kind of easy. I don't want to say easy, but, you know, kind of those routine 5 to 10 yard passes to get them into a rhythm. Because when the rushing attack is going, I mean, and when teams have to respect the rushing attack, NDSU's play action is really, really good. You know, I was pulling it up now that Miller he has an 83.6 passing grade on PFF on play action throws, but when it's not a play action throw and it's just, you know, a normal drop back, his passing grade is 60.2. And so he's much more comfortable off of play action. And of course that, you know, different route concepts too off of play action. Usually when NDSU does do play action, they do a lot of dump offs, like I said, into the flats. But I think just throws like that to get him into a rhythm. And at the same time, he's going to have to make a big time throw at some point in the fourth quarter. I think a lot of us expect a 1 possession game, and there's been times when NDSU has been down a couple times this year to Arizona and to South Dakota State. They were down 1 score with 2-3 minutes left. NDSU gets the ball, and a couple of big incompletions by Miller gives the other team the ball back, and the Bison end up losing. And so I think he is going to have to make some big time throws in the fourth quarter for NDSU to win.
Sam Herder joining us, the senior writer, Hero Sports FCS, and he'll be in Frisco, Texas for the game on Sunday. I think it's 1 Mountain, or is it 1 Eastern?
It'd be 1, I know it's 1 Central time, so 2 Eastern.
So noon, okay, so noon Mountain time on ABC. Let's switch over. You mentioned Hunter Lipke, real quick on him. He was such a beast in that championship game against the Bobcats last year. I think he had 3 touchdowns. How big of a missing piece is that for the Bison?
Yeah, it's big. I think you can make the argument that if he wasn't on the field against James Madison, NDSU probably wouldn't have won. And in the title game, you know, I think he was named the game's MVP. Even if he wasn't in that game, I think NDSU still probably would have beaten Montana State just with how well the offensive line was playing. But I mean, he still is a huge difference maker. You know, I think it was 4 or 5 games into the season. He was my favorite to win the Walter Payton Award, just with the numbers he was putting up and how dominant he was. I kind of expected him to tail off a little bit just because, you know, NDSU kind of lightens his load against teams that they kind of know that they're going to beat. And so I think he had a really hot start to this season, coming off of a dominant playoff run. I do think he got beat up a little bit, and some bumps and bruises here or there. He had some games where he had two carries, 3 carries, not a whole lot of touches. And then I can't remember what game it was. It was a road game. It might have been at Southern Illinois. He kind of just took a routine hit to the shoulder, got up, jogged off the field, and we haven't seen him since. And we've since learned that it was a shoulder injury. He needed surgery on that shoulder. He's out for the year. He is a big-time NFL draft prospect.
Yep.
It sounds like this is going to hold him out of the Senior Bowl, which he got an invite to. Hopefully he can make it back to the Combine, because we know how important testing is for these FCS guys. But not having him out there, it's just one, in my opinion, one of the best weapons in the FCS. Tamarick Williams has been that more physical back. He's a bigger body, but again, he's beat up. So is Kobe Johnson, and so the whole rushing attack for NDSU is they're still number 3 in the FCS when it comes to rushing offense. But they still, they dominated against UIW, but even against Samford, in the quarterfinals, I think they struggled to get going in the running game for 2.5 quarters until they started to roll.
Well, they didn't have an issue with Montana State beating the Cats in the semifinals. But that defense for the Jackrabbits is where I want to start, Sam, because I think that was the only game this season that the Bobcats' offensive line got pushed back instead of moving forward multiple yards. I mean, they did it with Oregon State. They were able to get rushing yards. But that SDSU front line especially is really, really good. And obviously it came into play beating NDSU earlier this year. But how good, really, is that SDSU front 7?
Yeah, they are incredibly stout. They were good last year. I think they've taken even a bigger step this year. Caleb Sanders is fantastic at defensive tackle. Reese Winkleman is a really good defensive end, a big body. And their linebackers just fly around, and they get a lot of safety help as well. Their safeties really run the running lanes and close off running gaps in a hurry. And so, Adam Bach, we heard his name a lot against Montana State. That was kind of his first full game back from injury, a midseason injury. And so South Dakota State has done it without, in my opinion, one of the best linebackers in the FCS in Adam Bach. They did it without him and had this stout of a run defense without him for the latter half of the season, but he looked fully healthy against Montana State. And so, that's quite obviously the number one key when it comes to defending North Dakota State is stopping the run. And, some teams can do it for 2 quarters. Some teams can do it for 3 quarters. We saw it with UIW and Samford. They held up really strong against NDSU's rushing attack for 2.5 quarters. And then NDSU just, kept on coming at them. And eventually that dam broke. But South Dakota State, due to their physicality, more so probably due to their depth as well, they can rotate guys across the defensive line. They are kind of that honestly rare FCS team that can go toe-to-toe in the trenches for all 60 minutes.
We're talking with Sam Herder. Move to the offensive side for the Jackrabbits. The quarterback, Mark Gronowski, very, very good. He's solid. He's only thrown 5 picks. He's got 23 touchdowns. He can rush. He's kind of that dual threat, more of a passer type guy. But he's got talent all around him, and that just makes him better, right?
Yeah, he's a gamer, but no doubt, they have a first-year offensive coordinator, Zach Lujan, and they're a bit more methodical this year. Jason Eck was the offensive coordinator in the previous few seasons. He's now at obviously the Idaho head coach. Jason Eck was maybe wanting to be a bit more explosive, maybe some trickeration in there, but with Lujan, they're more methodical. And so when you look at South Dakota State's numbers on paper, I guess, and that obviously doesn't tell the whole story, but it's not like they're ranking incredibly high when it comes to scoring offense, rushing offense, passing offense, but they can get it done in so many ways. And Mark Gronowski he's kind of that franchise guy with South Dakota State. I think the players rally around him. He's a gamer. I think he's now 21-1 against FCS teams as a starter, not including the spring national title game. He got hurt, basically like Tommy Mellott, really early in that game, so I don't include that one. The last time he's lost to an FCS team was, I think, in March of 2021 in that weird spring season that was at UND. And so he just knows how to win. He takes care of the ball. He's getting more and more dangerous with his legs as well. He suffered that ACL injury, like I said, in the spring season. That held him out last year. And to start this year, he was a little shaky, I think. I don't think he was as accurate. He's a little hesitant to use his legs. But in the playoffs, he's really I think, gotten more comfortable using his legs. I think he's up to double-digit rushing touchdowns as well. So he's just an all-around solid quarterback to kind of run the show there for that offense.
In your article at Hero Sports FCS, you talk about first-timers getting to Frisco and Toyota Stadium. We saw it with Montana State last year. Bison jumped all over him early. And Tommy Mellott went down that first series. That didn't help. North Dakota State still wins that game. Don't get me wrong. They're used to this pressure. South Dakota State, not so much. What's the key for the Jackrabbits to settle in early?
Yeah, it's incredibly cliche, but they need to come out like they are the better team and come out with confidence. I don't think you can kind of tiptoe and feel your way around this game in the atmosphere. And yeah, South Dakota State was there in the spring, but that was 50% capacity. And, Montana State was a little shaky to start. I think it's them. And like you said, the Mellott injury, I think really was a buzzkill on that sideline and for the Montana State fans. But I think Montana State, the players, and I've seen it before too with other teams the first time in Frisco, they look shaky. They look a little tight. Maybe the stage is too big. And by the time it's 8 minutes into the game and they kind of settle in and say, okay, we're here. This is the national title game. It's NDSU is up 21-0. And so right. I think South Dakota State just needs to come out with confidence. They need to throw the first punch. All the pressure on this game, honestly, is on South Dakota State. They are the betting favorites. They are the number one seed. They have been the number one ranked team for quite a while after beating NDSU. A lot of people are picking South Dakota State to win this game. And, it's kind of one of those things where if this South Dakota State team, like I said earlier, if they don't beat this NDSU team, then whoever is going to beat the Bison. And so I think all the pressure is on the Jackrabbits, and I just think they're a veteran squad, so I don't think they're going to come out too tight or too nervous, but they just can't let the moment get too big for them and just play to their level.
This is essentially a rivalry game championship because, NDSU, North Dakota, not so much. This has become a great rivalry over the last, decade or more. But will there be any beer? I mean, I know we talk about this last year with Montana State and North Dakota State, but South Dakota can drink its fair share of beer too. How's Frisco and Plano area going to handle all the fans?
Yeah, I think they certainly are prepared. They're used to the NDSU crowd coming. I think last year Montana State was as good of a, quote unquote, opposing crowd to NDSU when it came to just, living it up and doing the usual tailgating or bar festivities. I still think that, last year's tailgating was one of the better scenes I had ever seen. And, NDSU was a bit more spread out in the tailgating lots, but Montana State, all the fans kind of were in that one area around that white tent. And I remember taking a picture and it was just, a mass of Montana State fans. And so I think South Dakota State will travel like that as well. With NDSU, this is their 10th time. And, I don't know if bored is the right word because NDSU fans don't necessarily like the word bored because how can you ever get bored with winning the national title? But when you do it this many times, at some point it gets a little less special. And at some point you go, maybe I don't want to spend a couple grand because I've already done that 9 times. And so there is a chance that maybe this is a close to a 50-50 split between NDSU and South Dakota State fans. But overall, I know there are some people that don't have tickets, but they're still going just for the atmosphere. And so it should be a really good atmosphere down there in Frisco.
Well, I got to tell you, I spent 2 days at Tight End Sports Bar doing this show, and the NDSU fans that were there didn't seem bored at all. So I don't know if it was because I was there doing the show or maybe it was a senior. I don't know, but they did not appear bored, Sam.
Yeah, I think once down there, they're into it. They want to win. They want to win a national title. That's what everyone says about NDSU is they win national titles there. And so I think, big picture wise, yeah, some Bison fans are maybe looking toward the FBS and something else. But when they're in the moment, obviously they're still into it and want to win national title after national title.
So I think in October you picked SDSU 28-24. That's the exact same score you're going with in the championship. You're picking the Jackrabbits, correct?
Yeah, I am. I think the reason to pick NDSU, and I wrote it in October too. The reason to pick NDSU is more about it just being the Bison brand and it's always hard to pick against NDSU and pick against NDSU at your own risk. It's more about that than actually looking at the matchups because, on the field, I just think South Dakota State has so many advantages. They're as close to 100% healthy as you can ask for. I think their starting safety from earlier this year is out, but they have, great depth at safety. But other than that, South Dakota State is looking really healthy. And on the flip side, NDSU is down, NFL draft prospect fullback Hunter Lipke. Noah Gindorf is a NFL draft prospect tight end. They're also down 2 starting offensive linemen. Their depth chart NDSU released earlier this week. Tamarick Williams, a solid running back. He's not on it. Kobe Johnson is listed as as a starter. The defensive line is missing a couple of guys. 3 of their 4 interior defensive linemen on the 2 deep are all freshmen. Three of the 4 are freshmen, and that doesn't bode well against a really physical South Dakota State offensive line. So it just seems like this is the year that South Dakota State gets it done, and I think the Jacks have advantages in a lot of different areas on the field.
Well, have a drink for me down there, please. Stay hydrated. The weather's supposed to be better than it was last year. But have fun again. It's a great place. I cannot wait to get back. Hopefully a year from now, we're talking in person again. But safe travels and best of luck down there. I love reading your stuff. Hero Sports FCS senior writer Sam Herder. You can follow him on Twitter as well. And travel safe and enjoy the game.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
That is Sam Herder on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline, picking South Dakota State. It's not just a bundle. It's your home. It's your auto. It's your life. Mike understands that. Get a hold of Mike Miller State Farm in Helena. Got a sick little one, so we're trying to do all that. Let's see. Yeah, get a hold of Mike in Helena today. All right, quick break. We'll come back. We told you yesterday about former Western player Paige Holmes and the struggles her and her family are going with. Her former coach, Lindsay Woolley, is going to join us next here on the Jason Walker Show. This segment was brought to you by Rutgers Furniture.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rutgers Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rutgers, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rutgers Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
L&P Grocery offers Boulder a convenient shopping experience, whether you're stopping in for a few things or stocking up for the week ahead. From fresh produce and meat to all the staples you need to feed your family, you'll find it here. L&P Grocery is also proud to have partnerships with local brands and carry products unique to the area. Stop by to exchange propane tanks, pick up fishing tackle, grab your prescription, or get your photo taken at the Pitcher Kiosk. They're delighted to be the one-stop shop for local area Boulder residents who want to support local business. Visit lnpgrocery.com and at 215 North Main Street.
Strength, beauty, grit, superior craftsmanship. Our homes have it all. At Montana Custom Log Homes, if you can dream it, we can build it. With 3 divisions and over 50 years experience, we've got you covered. From a showcase home to a small cabin, we make your vision a reality. Because every cowboy wants a castle for his queen. Montana Custom Log Homes, crafting homes that last for generations.
Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show.
Summer, the season to work hard, play hard. The days are heating up and getting longer. The smell of fresh cut grass, the hot sun on your skin. Who we kidding? We all know you're really thinking about having fun and relaxing at the Copper Club Casino. Meet your friends for a cold one. Play a $5 or two. When you want great service, cold drinks, and fun entertainment, this is the place. The Copper Club Casino, where everybody knows your name any time of year. On Euclid, across from Molendi Center, the Copper Club Casino.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Welcome back. Final segment on a Thursday. On this day in history coming up, the walk-off and more. This segment brought to you by Copper Club Casino. Make sure you stop in, drink and gamble responsibly for the hottest games, warmest staff, and the coldest drinks. Well, yesterday, before we get to that, before we get to Lindsey Woolley, he'll join us here in a couple of seconds. Damar Hamlin woke up today. I think they worked him out of his coma. And the Buffalo Bills defensive back that was injured, cardiac arrest on Monday night, he woke up and was able to write to his doctors. And the question he asked was, who won the game? And the doctors told him, you won. You won life, the game of life. But great news about Damar Hamlin. And we're hoping for even great news about Paige Pathausen, formerly Paige Holmes of the Montana Western Bulldog women. She had a baby, developed an infection, and she's down in Salt Lake fighting that infection, and her and her family need some help. And joining us now here on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline to talk about what happened and the fundraising efforts underway right now is Montana Western head basketball coach Lindsey Woolley. All right, Coach, it's game day. You're a couple hours away from tip-off against Providence women, but we're not here to talk about actual gameplay. We're here to talk about a former player in Paige Holmes, Paige Pathausen now. But take me through the situation with Paige and what's been going on.
Well, she, her and her husband Mick gave birth to a beautiful baby girl on December, I think it was the 16th. 19th. Sorry, my dates are a little goofed up. I think it might have been. So I think it was the 16th. It was when we got to Arizona. But anyway, and she had a C-section and ended up getting a blood infection, and so they ended up having to life flight her and Mick down to Salt Lake City, and she's been at the University of Utah since, I believe, since the 19th or 20th, somewhere around there. Kind of fighting the infection and, doing all the things they do to get the infection out of your system, removing a bunch of tissue and skin and all those things that are, hard to see happen. And they believe they've gotten the infection. They believe they've got everything that's infected out, which is awesome news. It was touch and go there for a while with some biopsies and those types of things, but she's doing well. She's in good spirits, and she finally got to see her baby again a couple days ago, which was good news.
Yeah, that is.
They're just waiting for skin grafts, and that hopefully get going on that next week. They'll be down there for another 4, maybe 5 more weeks, hopefully, if everything goes as planned.
I read that, Coach, that she's in the burn unit, which I guess makes sense now with the, originally when you read, you're like, why is that? But can you take us through that a little bit? Is that for the skin grafts?
Know. I didn't talk to her about all the specifics, but it sounded like the infection was pretty severe, and sounds like they have to get in. They have to do multiple surgeries to try to get the infected tissue out. Is from what I understand. Obviously, I'm just a dumb basketball coach, but and now they have to. So she was in ICU for a number of days, and now she's out of the ICU, and she's they're going to transfer her over to the burn unit to do all the things that they do when it comes to kind of piecing your skin back together.
I mean, we know how good of a player she was. What kind of person is she off the floor?
Well, she's what you see on the floor. She's energetic and outgoing and hard-nosed and competitive in everything that she does. And, obviously we talk about how college athletes sometimes think that life's pretty tough, and we always try to tell them that it's only going to get harder when they leave, and you hope it's not going to get this hard, but right. She's battled her way through it, and she's just an awesome kid. Whatever Shauna and Michelle put in her Cheerios when she was growing up, they probably should bottle it and sell it, because everybody would want a kid like her.
Yeah, she was so much fun to watch on the floor, and I when you're with one team, you don't get a chance to get to know really the opponents very well, but She was fun to watch. There's no question about that. So tell me about what went into getting into tonight with all the proceeds of the gate and everything going towards her recovery.
Yeah, my AD and I were talking about, what can we do to help? And obviously she's going to have they're going to have some significant medical bills, as well as, making her family being down there for a long time in Salt Lake. And so we just, we decided that this was, the best way that we could make a small contribution to try to help out. And I know there's been a number of people here in the community that have done the same, whether it's Venmo and Nick directly, and now they have an account set up at a local bank here in town, benefit account. And I know I talked to Coach Moat a number of times the last couple of days. He's kind of blasting the Hoops for a Cause stuff out and started a GoFundMe for her. So the support's been really good. And we're just, like I said, do our small part to help and let them know we're thinking about them.
We're talking with Lindsay Woolley, the Western basketball coach of the women 2019 national champs. Paige was on that team. Do you win the title without her?
Nope.
that's the answer.
It's funny, Jason. There's kids, and you talk to a lot of coaches, but there's kids that drive winning, and there's kids that can not drive winning. And even though she probably averaged 6 points a game and 4 rebounds a game as a sophomore on that team, she made one of the biggest shots against, I think it was the Masters in the third or fourth round, and she did everything. She does all the things that it takes to go into having a championship caliber team, and she did it for 4 years.
I know yesterday you challenged Coach Graham at Tech. Are you issuing challenges to the rest of the Frontier?
Well, we figured it was appropriate because Mick played football for Tech for 4 or 5 years, and Matt Steppin's they're gonna put something together for our game down there here beginning of February, or up there, I should say. I'm sure they'll do whatever they can to help, and obviously, it's good to have a league as close as we do that coaches and athletic directors will rally around our former student athletes.
Yeah, you mentioned, just on the women's side with Himmelberg and Moat and Keller and Graham now and even with Sayers, and the Hoops for a Cause has been such a great thing over the last few years that, we see how well the Frontier rallies around itself and each other. And this is just going to be another case, I think.
I think so. I hope so. It's pretty awesome. Chris took the time out of his day to day to get all that stuff set up and kind of get it pushed out, and I'm sure we'll get a good response.
So Venmo, Mick, I'll give that address, but also a GoFundMe is set up through the Hoops for Cause. Is that right?
Yep, it's on. I think he said he blasted it all out this afternoon. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but
well, you're getting ready for a game tonight, so there is that. I'll ask you one game question. What's it take? What do you expect from the Argos and the Bulldogs tonight?
Well, it'll be a battle. It seems to be a battle every time we play them. They're so good on the offensive boards. We got to do a good job to try to minimize their second chance points, and hopefully we kind of break out of our little shooting slump that we've been in the last few games. So it'll be interesting, and hopefully we get a great turnout and a lot of support for Paige and Mick and Parker, and everything continues to go great for them down in Salt Lake City, because we're certainly thinking about them.
Have you met the baby yet?
I have not. We were in Arizona.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we were there together.
Yeah.
I can imagine you holding a kid. Of all the coaches in the league, aside from Sayers, you might be the one I can see holding a kid the best.
Well, it's funny that I always joke with my wife before we had a kid that I don't like to hold other people's babies. I'll hold my own when I have it, but it's certainly one that I'm looking forward to meeting and looking forward to seeing Paige and Nick when she gets back on 2 feet again.
Are you saying that you treated babies like the NHL Stanley Cup, that you wouldn't touch it until you had your own?
Well, exactly. Everybody said, "Don't you want to practice?" And I said, "I think I can probably, manage. Just like I don't drop things very often, so I feel like I do a good job with another human in my hands."
Wearing the white gloves and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that is great. Hey, best of luck tonight, Coach, and going forward in the season. Thank you for the time on game day, and tell Paige and her family we're rooting for them. We'll do whatever we can here with the Jason Walker Show and blast it out as well. And we just want the best for the family.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it, man.
That is Lindsay Woolley, head coach of Montana Western, joining us. So I just shared on my page on Facebook and also on the Jason Walker Show, the GoFundMe to help out page, Holmes Paffhausen, her husband Mick, baby Parker, as they battle through this unfortunate situation. So help out if you can. There's a GoFundMe page set up. You can Venmo Mick-Paffhausen directly if you would so choose as well. Today is January the 5th, 2023. It is National Whipped Cream Day, National Screenwriters Day, 1927. Kennesaw Mountain Landis begins a 3-day public hearing on charges that 4 games played between Chicago and Detroit in 1917 had been thrown to the White Sox. 1931, first woman to purchase a baseball team. Lucille Thomas buys the Topeka Senators in the Western League. 1934, National and American Baseball Leagues select the uniform ball, like the same ball they use, which made sense. 1957, Jackie Robinson announced his retirement rather than being traded to the New York Giants. On this date in 1971, the Globetrotters would lose 199 to the New Jersey Reds, ending a 2,495-game win streak. Pete Maravich passed away on this date at the age of 40, and in 2004, Tug McGraw, the great baseball player, passed away from cancer at the age of 59, and a member of that 1973 New York Mets World Championship baseball team. Oh, and he's also the father of Tim McGraw, the singer. Let's do this.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
The walk-off presented by Cafe Zydeco, where the Big Easy meets the Big Sky. Make sure you stop in for the best Cajun this side of New Orleans. Great week. Appreciate, let's see, Tricia Binford joined us, Scott Evans, Ashley Gear, Sam Herder, Alex Eshelman, Lindsay Woolley. Great week. We'll do it again next week. And hopefully good news all next week. We'll have our Auto Concepts Performance of the Week as well next week. Look forward to being there. If you missed anything, go to jasonwalkershow.com anytime, anywhere. It's mobile as well. It's fun. Have a great weekend. Thanks to all of our great sponsors, the great tweets, all around great support. Appreciate you. We'll see you next week right here, Jason Walker Show.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.